Okay, let's dig into this. For so many people heading into retirement, there's this one decision that just looms really large.
Yeah, often much bigger than thinking about investments or, where they want to travel.
Exactly. It's the family home. What do you do with it?
Mm-hmm. And it's not just bricks and mortar, is it? It's decades of life, all those memories packed in.
And usually it's their biggest asset, too. So what happens to this, central piece of your life, your legacy?
Do you stay, preserve it, or do you look at downsizing? It's a tough one.
It really is. That decision is it's packed with complexity. You've got the money side, sure, but also these really deep emotional ties.
And how you see your future, your family's future, it's huge. And tons of people are facing this right now.
Right. And that exact dilemma, staying put versus maybe looking at alternatives like downsizing, that's what we're diving into today.
And we've got a specific perspective here, which is great. Insights from source material provided by a local expert in Washington State.
Yeah, right in the Bonney Lake Lake Tapps area. Susie Karstad at Rethinking Real Estate.
Oh, nice. So getting that kind of trusted, grounded view on such a universal challenge, that feels really valuable.
It absolutely does. So our mission for this deep dive is to take the data, the reasons, the sort of practical stuff that Susie Karstad lays out.
And really unpack it.
Yeah, unpack it to help you, our listener, think through this really critical choice. Maybe for yourself, maybe for your parents, or someone you care about.
Okay, so where does the source start? It grounds us in what most people actually do, right?
It does. And the picture is, well, it's pretty clear. The most common path is just staying put.
Mm-hmm. And what's striking is how consistent that is with broader national trends.
Right. Surveys show, over 60% of retirees haven't moved since retiring?
Yeah, and this number, too, about half of older Americans still own their homes when they pass away.
So inheritance.
Yeah.
Leaving the property behind. That happens
a lot. Very, very common outcome.
And the source material, it doesn't just throw at the statistic. It really digs into why. Why do people stay? It's not just inertia, is it?
No, not at all. There are some really powerful forces keeping people in those homes.
Like what? What does it highlight?
Well, first and foremost, that deep emotional connection. We touched on it, but it's huge.
All the memories.
Exactly. Holidays, birthdays, raising kids. Life happened there. Walking away from that is incredibly difficult for many people.
And that ties right into the comfort, the stability of just staying in your community, right?
Totally. Your neighbors, the local shops, your doctor, your routines.
The moving, especially later on, can feel really disruptive, almost scary. It's about keeping that sense of place.
And then there's the financial piece. The source points out the home equity.
Ah, right. The safety net aspect.
Yeah. For a lot of retirees, their home is a massive chunk of their wealth. And that equity isn't just a number on paper.
It feels real, like a backstop.
Exactly. If unexpected health stuff comes up or some other big expense, that equity can be a lifesaver.
Okay, so emotion, community, financial safety. What else?
Legacy planning. That desire to leave the home itself as a gift.
Like a tangible piece of the family story for the kids or grandkids.
Mm-hmm. They see it as passing on something really substantial, something meaningful.
So connecting all that, it really underlines how much the non-financial stuff drives this.
Absolutely. You might think it's all dollars and cents, but the source makes it clear. Emotion, familiarity, community, legacy. Those are incredibly powerful reasons people hold on to the house. It's way more than just market value.
But okay, the source doesn't just leave it there. It pivots, right? It offers this alternative view.
It does. It frames downsizing not just as, a practical thing to do. It specifically calls it a smart, caring alternative.
Smart and caring. That's interesting phrasing.
It shifts the focus. It makes you consider the practical side from both the retiree's angle and, crucially, the heir's perspective, too.
Which brings up a really important question. Is leaving the actual house always the best thing for the people inheriting it?
Yeah, the source suggests maybe not always. It points out inheriting property isn't just like getting a check. It can actually be a real burden sometimes.
That's the point people might not fully grasp until they're in that situation, I think.
Definitely. Imagine getting keys to a house maybe filled with decades of stuff. You're grieving, and now you have to sort it all, figure out repairs, pay taxes, insurance.
Deal with selling it, maybe coordinating with siblings. Wow, yeah. That's a lot.
It's a massive job. So the argument is downsizing can actually be a huge help to your kids later.
By simplifying the estate. less work, less stress, less responsibility for them when they're already going through a tough time.
Exactly. And, maybe even more importantly, downsizing unlocks the equity tied up in that larger home.
Right, frees up cash.
And here's the powerful part the source highlights. That lets you potentially give financial support to your kids or grandkids now.
Oh, okay. While you're still around to see it make a difference.
Precisely. Think about helping with college tuition, or maybe a down payment for their first place, or helping out when a grandchild is born.
That kind of timely help could be massive. Way more impactful than waiting for an inheritance that might come much later.
That's the idea. Using that equity to support family during those key life stages when they might need it most, instead of just leaving them a property to deal with later.
Okay, so that's the benefit for the heirs. What about for the retiree themselves?
Big benefits there too, according to the source. Moving to something smaller, more manageable, that cuts down on maintenance significantly.
Less yard work, fewer potential big repairs.
Less stress, fewer unexpected bills popping up, and lower ongoing costs too. Property taxes, insurance, utilities often go down.
Which all translates into more financial flexibility.
Exactly. With the extra cash from selling the bigger place and lower expenses, you've got more resources to actually enjoy retirement.
Maybe travel more, take up that hobby you always wanted to try.
Spend more quality time with family without worrying so much about the budget or the leaky roof.
So the source really frames downsizing as this active, strategic choice. It's not just about getting rid of stuff.
No, it's about leveraging a major asset, your home, to improve your life now and proactively help your family now.
It kind of reframes the whole idea of legacy, doesn't it? Maybe it's not just about leaving the physical house.
Exactly. It aligns your financial situation with actively supporting family and genuinely boosting your own quality of life in retirement. It challenges that default assumption.
Okay, now here's where it gets, really interesting. Because the source brings in another perspective. It's not just real estate advice.
Right. It mentions Bill Perkins and his book, Die with Zero.
Which looks at how people handle their wealth across their whole lives, but especially in retirement.
And he points out something kind of startling about retiree finances that connects directly to this whole house decision.
I know. That statistic in the source, it really makes you pause. Perkins says many retirees actually see their net worth go up in retirement.
Yeah, the data he cites suggests retirees starting with, say, $500,000 or more often only spend down about 11.5% of it over 20 years, or by the time they pass.
Wow. So over 88% is potentially left untouched. That's counterintuitive.
It really is. We think of retirement as drawing down savings, but maybe many people are perhaps overly cautious.
So Perkins's core message is, what? Don't just hoard wealth.
Sort of. It challenges that traditional idea of just accumulating wealth mainly to pass it on. He argues the real goal isn't maximizing inheritance just for its own sake.
Okay. So what is the goal then?
Strategically using your wealth to maximize your life experiences while you're still healthy and able to enjoy them.
Ah, the experience.
Yeah, there's that provocative quote in the source material. The goal isn't to die with nothing. It's to die with nothing left unlived.
Nothing left unlived.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does that connect back to the house decision?
Directly. Unlocking that home equity by downsizing, that's a really concrete way to embrace that kind of thinking.
Using the value of your biggest asset.
That significant chunk of wealth to enhance your life now, fund those experiences, make daily life easier, less stressful.
And, like we said, maybe directly help your family today.
Right. Instead of just preserving the asset purely for a future inheritance that, frankly, they might not need as much then. Or might even find a hassle.
It really reframes the house from just this passive thing you hold on to into an active tool.
A tool whose value you can deploy to create meaningful experiences and support loved ones during your lifetime. It pushes for a more intentional approach to retirement wealth.
Okay, wow. So we've covered a lot. The powerful reasons people stay put, emotion, community, the legacy idea.
Then the alternative. Downsizing as this proactive, caring strategy. Benefits for you, benefits for your heirs, unlocking value for now.
And then layering on that die with zero philosophy, challenging the focus on just preserving wealth, shifting it towards maximizing life experiences.
It makes it clear, doesn't it? This is a deeply, deeply personal decision. So much more than just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Absolutely. It's your life story, your relationships, your vision for what comes next.
There really is no single right answer, no one-size-fits-all solution.
Which is exactly why getting some expert guidance can be so incredibly helpful.
Yeah, the source material from Susie Karstedt at Rethinking Real Estate really emphasizes that the value of talking to a local real estate expert.
Someone who provides that trusted perspective, as the source puts it.
Someone who gets the local market, like Bonney Lake and Lake Tapps, but also understands the unique sensitivities around this specific life transition for retirees and their families.
And they can offer real practical help, right? Tailored to your situation.
Definitely. The source outlines a few key things. First, just getting a solid market analysis, knowing what your home is actually worth right now.
Can't make good decisions without knowing the facts.
Exactly. Then, offering specific guidance on the options you're thinking about selling, buying smaller, maybe even gifting the property or its value. Those can get complicated.
And connecting you with other pros you might need.
Yeah, like estate planning attorneys or financial advisors, making sure all the legal and tax angles are covered properly, whatever you decide.
And maybe the most important part, personalized advice.
Absolutely. Every family is different finances, different relationships, different goals for retirement. A local expert can help you weigh the pros and cons based on your unique situation, your values.
It really brings home that core message from the source. Your home is this powerful tool. It's a huge asset, loaded with value, financial, yes, but emotional too.
And the choice of how you use that value for legacy, for your current lifestyle, for a helping family, now that choice is ultimately yours.
Getting good advice just helps you make that really important choice with confidence, intentionally.
It's about being informed, being proactive, and making sure whatever you decide really serves your goals and your family's well-being, both now and down the road.
Okay, so we've really taken a deep dive here. Holding on to the home versus downsizing, the practicalities, the emotions, the die with zero idea, all seen through the lens provided by our source.
Yeah, it highlights that real tension, doesn't it? Preserving a physical asset for later versus leveraging its value to make a difference now.
Yeah.
In your life and your family's lives.
So hopefully this deep dive, using those insights from Susie Karstedt at Rethinking Real Estate, helps you listening think through this really complex choice.
As you reflect on all this, what kind of stands out most? Is it that powerful emotional pull of the family home?
Or maybe the potential burden that inheriting property could actually be for your loved ones.
Or maybe that challenging idea of actively using your wealth, including your home equity, to live more fully and make an impact today.
It really is a decision that just weaves together so many threads. Life, legacy, what living well really means.
It absolutely is.
And maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on, building on that die with zero idea.
Okay.
If you looked at your home, not just as something to pass down later, but as a source of value you could actively use today, what specific thing would that enable? What experience? What support for your family? What does dying with nothing left unlived actually mean when you think about your home?